You probably didn't know that this wrestler did something truly terrifying. For years, he was known as one of the most disciplined, respected, and intense performers in professional wrestling. Fans admired his work ethic. Fellow wrestlers trusted him with their careers and their lives. But behind the image of toughness and control was a slow, hidden collapse that ended in one of the darkest tragedies the wrestling world has ever known. This is the true crime story of Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit was born on May 21, 1967, in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. From a young age, he was obsessed with professional wrestling. He wasn't the biggest kid, but he was absolutely relentless. He trained harder than anyone, pushing his body to extremes to make up for what he lacked in size. That intense mindset would define his entire career and, eventually, contribute to his devastating downfall. Benoit burst onto the wrestling scene in the late 1980s, building his reputation in Japan, Mexico, and Canada before finally breaking into the major American promotions. He became famous for a stiff, incredibly physical style that looked more real than almost anything else you'd see in the ring. Fans respected it, promoters rewarded it, but it all came at a terrible cost. Over the years, Benoit suffered countless head injuries. Concussions were a common occurrence, but at the time, they were just ignored, brushed off, or treated as just another part of the job. In the year 2000, Benoit joined World Wrestling Entertainment, and he quickly reached the absolute peak of his career. He won championships, he headlined major events, and he became a true leader in the locker room. Outside the ring, he married Nancy Sullivan, known to wrestling fans as Nancy Benoit. They had a son together, Daniel. From the outside, they looked like the perfect, successful wrestling family. But behind closed doors, things were far from stable. Friends later described Benoit as becoming increasingly withdrawn, obsessive, and emotionally distant. He followed extreme workout routines, barely slept, and struggled to cope with the immense stress of his career. Nancy even confided in close friends that she feared for her safety at times. There were incidents that hinted at serious domestic problems, but nothing that ever triggered a major intervention. In June of 2007, Chris Benoit failed to appear at a scheduled wrestling event. This was highly unusual. He was known for his professionalism and his absolute reliability. When his co-workers couldn't reach him, concerns started to grow. WWE eventually contacted the authorities to perform a welfare check at his home in Fayetteville, Georgia. What the police found inside that house would shock everyone. Chris Benoit, his wife Nancy, and their 7-year-old son Daniel were all found dead in the home. The scene was immediately treated as a criminal investigation. As the horrifying details emerged, it became clear that this was not an accident or some random act of violence. The wrestling world was completely frozen in disbelief. The news spread like wildfire. WWE initially canceled their planned storylines and aired tribute content to Benoit before the full truth was known. But as investigators pieced together the timeline, the entire narrative changed completely. What at first looked like a tragic, inexplicable loss became something far more disturbing and sinister. Authorities determined that Chris Benoit was responsible for the deaths of his wife and his son before his own death. The timeline suggested the events occurred over a period of multiple days, not in a single moment of rage. There was absolutely no evidence of forced entry or any outside involvement. The tragedy came from within the house. The public reaction was immediate and intense. WWE erased Chris Benoit from its history. Merchandise was pulled from shelves. His name was removed from records and broadcasts. Fans struggled to reconcile the man they had admired so much in the ring with the dark reality of what had happened in his home. It was a complete and total shock to the system for millions of people. As investigators dug deeper, another layer emerged that would completely reshape how people understood the case. A post-mortem examination of Benoit's brain revealed severe damage consistent with a condition known as chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE. His brain showed a level of degeneration that doctors typically see in much older individuals, people with long histories of severe head trauma. Doctors even compared his brain to that of an elderly person with advanced neurological disease. This discovery shifted the entire conversation. While it in no way excuses what happened, it raised serious questions about the long-term effects of repeated head injuries, especially in a world like professional wrestling, where concussion protocols were nearly non-existent at the time. Former wrestlers started speaking out about experiencing similar symptoms: memory loss, severe mood swings, depression, and impulsivity. The Chris Benoit case became a massive turning point. WWE and other organizations were forced to implement stricter wellness policies, mandatory concussion testing, and new limits on certain dangerous moves in the ring. The deaths of Nancy and Daniel Benoit also brought a new focus to the hidden dangers of domestic violence and the critical importance of addressing untreated mental health issues. Friends later admitted that they wished they had taken the warning signs more seriously. The tragedy became a powerful and painful reminder that silence and normalization of troubling behavior can be deadly. To this day, Chris Benoit remains one of the most controversial figures in the history of sports entertainment. His in-ring accomplishments are now completely overshadowed by the horrific acts he committed outside of it. For many, his name represents a cautionary tale about the dangers of ignoring mental health, glorifying pain, and failing to protect families behind the scenes. The legacy of this case isn't about championships or five-star matches. It is about loss. It is about responsibility, and it is about the devastating consequences of a system that pushed people beyond their human limits without any safeguards in place to protect them or their loved ones. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. These stories are difficult to talk about, but they matter. If you found this video informative, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth true crime stories. Your support helps us keep these important conversations going and honors the victims by remembering the truth.